Hey guys, Mike, IronTrap. Just wanted to interrupt this real quick. We had some file issues with this podcast. The first hour has no video. Had a corrupt file, couldn't fix it. This has happened in the past before, but I was able to fix it. So I just need to buy a new camera so this never happens again. I apologize, but enjoy today's topic.
Hey guys,
What's up?
welcome to the IronTrap podcast. We are live from the IronTrap studios. Pew, pew, pew.
This show is pre-recorded.
We're live right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're listening and watching, and it's not live, but it's live to us.
Yes.
So we're doing a podcast, and if you guys don't remember, we do these weekly, and you can subscribe on Spotify, Apple, all of those listening outlets, also YouTube now.
Yep.
You can listen on YouTube and also watch. We do put it on the channel to watch visually if you enjoy doing that. If you don't like podcasts, then don't watch. But
Sorry about
we're
your
now,
luck.
but YouTube is kind of our hub for content.
Everything,
so,
yeah.
So that's what we put on there. Stuff going on.
So Long Island stuff was last week.
Yeah.
Where Steve is actually working on the 39 Deluxe
Yep.
Coupe right now. That'll be for sale probably. We're recording this on Friday, so I might put it up on Instagram tonight.
Oh wow. Okay.
If he gets all the wheels and tires swapped around, I'm probably gonna switch cars and bring the 38 Deluxe back here to do the same thing too. But we got the engine running, pulled it out, set it aside for our friend Nick, who's building a Roadster pickup, right?
Yeah, he's been a Roadster
Yeah.
pickup. I've been helping. I helped him. Been helping him a little bit. We mainly just worked here for like a weekend. We did just like a 2-day good session of working on his project, and we got it a mock-up engine, tack and trans tack welded into the car. Some other odds and ends taken care of, and now he was been looking for a flathead.
Yeah.
And he was kind of going down the same route that Mike had an issue with his car originally. He was going to buy a flathead off of Facebook that supposedly ran or did run, and I said, dude, if you just wait, like patient, I'm trying to teach patience. I'm trying to learn patience, but
Yeah.
also
Teach it as well.
some of my friends. So I was like, just be patient. We'll probably get something that's like known good. So we got that coupe. Steve got it running in the garage this week and ran it for, 30 minutes or 15, 16 minutes. And it was our normal deal. We just let it sit there and idle, revved it up every now and then. All the cylinders were even. And it took 15, 16 minutes idling on like a 90-degree day to get up to roughly 200 degrees.
It did scare you there for a minute because we've later found out the car had thermostats in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it like went to like 180 pretty quick.
Yeah,
and then the thermostats opened and it was fine.
Yeah, I was a little worried. It was like 5 minutes and it was already 180, and I'm like, that's odd, but not alarming, but just
Not great.
Not great. And it seems like with the flatheads with no thermostats, they do pretty good till they get heat soaked. Once you get around 180 or 190, it's hard to get them back down without an electric fan. So like if you could keep them on the cooler side, they generally are okay. But once you start getting in traffic and they get up, it's hard to get the temperature down without an electric fan. So that ran pretty good. I think the only thing we saw was the one head had like a casting defect or something, and it was seeping just a little coolant out of the face of it. We could see that it was seeping for
Yeah,
a
it
while.
like stripped all the paint off that little section ahead.
Yeah, and the car had coolant in it. Luckily, the gentleman, the one they all say is that was one of the ones that was a pleasure.
Yeah.
To buy that stuff because that gentleman collected good stuff, which the family did tell us that, but we hear that quite often, and sometimes they did collect good stuff, but they didn't store it nicely. Yeah. It was dry in the garage or barn, both first floor and second floor, which was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So all the good stuff upstairs was totally bone dry and in great condition. I guess the sheds and barns, they weren't too bad either, but he didn't keep anything really good. He just had that one car outside in it. So all the stuff was really good shape, and I was able to skim some stuff off for the 38 convertible, which is great. I'm excited this winter to put some of those pieces on the car as I work on it a little bit. So, so we're going to be selling both of those, all three of those vehicles. We have a few people interested in the convertible as is. If they do not, if we have no one that comes forward immediately to buy it as is, then we will probably this winter or fall. That'll be a project for Steve to start bolting trim on and putting the window regulators back in.
That may be a good car to take to Hershey if we
I
can get
agree.
it bolted together.
I agree. It would be a great car for Hershey.
Yeah.
It didn't run. Some people commented in the video that it didn't run well. Well, the thing was running off its gas tank, which probably had old ethanol fuel in it. So.
And we didn't follow the points. We literally just like cranked it and spraying it. The battery was not super happy as we were cranking it a bunch. So we literally just got it running enough to back it up. We didn't really try that hard.
So I think if we put a little more effort into it in the shop, we'll have it running good. Maybe we'll pull the distributor properly, file the points.
Yep.
And we don't even know if that carburetor, the accelerator pump, or anything was working. And then again, the fuel. So we'll probably put 5 gallons of like 93 or 4 in it to try and mix up with the junk stuff that's in there. It didn't look too bad or smell terrible, but again, if he put the gas in any recent times, even if it was 2-3 years ago, with the ethanol, it could be definitely not good. So those 3 cars will be available if you're interested in any of them. The 38 and 39 coupes will be very affordable.
Very similar to that 5-window, 36 5-window we sold the other week.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones. We're trying to combat the people that are complaining. We're bringing these up because people always complain that hot rodding's too expensive, you can't find a project, on and on and on. These cars are going to be like $2,500, $3,000 cars. You're going to get all the major sheet metal pieces for the car, and obviously your own interior and stuff like that you have to find. But there'll be rolling projects. Start building. Both of them already have painted frames under them. Front suspension on the ones all repainted for the most part. So you're not starting with something that was found in a swamp.
Yes.
Like I've started with before.
Oh, the 39 coupe has new floors in it. He put new floors. So the 39 coupe as a whole doesn't need a ton. It needs a little bit of rust repair where the quarter panel and roof meet. But other than that.
Rails, yeah. And then there's a rear lower panel that he
yeah.
screwed in, but he didn't weld it in yet. But it's fit up, so you could easily...
The doors open and close nicely. It's not like a falling apart rough mess.
Yeah, that's the key is... That's the key, is that you're getting something that isn't in 1,000 pieces. Like the doors are actually for that car, so they open and shut. The front sheet metal is pieces he got together, but
the front fenders are pretty nice.
Yeah, so honestly, we talk about this a lot. The parts that we're including with the car, like the deck lid, is freaking beautiful.
Yes.
And it's kind of hurts us to sell it because in those handful of pieces, we'd probably get more money than what we're selling the car for. But we don't want to part it out, so I sell it as a roller. So anyways, that's our long-winded sales pitch about that stuff.
Yes.
So we have that going on. We're actually going back to Long Island to get the remainder of the contents of the garage. They twisted my arm a little bit, and there was all kinds of good snap-on tools and toolboxes and welders and everything in there, and they gave me a price I couldn't refuse. And also the idea was, I started thinking about it while we were there on the spot, we need tools and supplies for the mill. Right now, it's one of the most frustrating things at the mill. My back seat of my truck is a toolbox. It's got all my Milwaukee stuff, a bunch of my tools,
a bunch of my tools,
a bunch of Mike's tools, and I just leave it in the truck because wherever I'm at, the truck's usually at, and then I can just work out of the truck. But what I want to do is get all Milwaukee tools for the mill, and then get all tools for there. So I'm going to probably take this nice snap-on tools, put them in my toolbox here, because I have a menagerie of whatever I've found over here. Eastwood, old stuff from auction, stuff, leftovers from my father, whatever else. And I'm going to take some of those tools, send them to the mill with one of those toolboxes, and then we'll have an area that we can work out of with the stuff, because we're slowly trying to set that up. The other thing is that there was a bunch of normal yard work property tools that were there, like shovels, and might even been weed eaters and crap like that. So
all that
I think we get all that, but I'm hoping we do. At least I'm sure they won't care too much about rakes and shovels and things. So we'll get some of that stuff for the mill too, because again, I have my gravel shovel at the mill, and when I need it here to scoop something up, it's what the heck? Where's my shovel?
My shovel? Yeah.
I got to drive 3-4 miles down the road and then go here for my shovel. So that'll be pretty cool. So we're going to be selling off, actually, what I'm getting at is we're going to be selling off a bunch of the tools, the Snap-on toolboxes, there's a Lincoln TIG welder, there's a Hobart MIG welder, there's a plasma cutter, there's a blast cabinet. There's
We
like,
might save the blast cabinet. We talked about that.
okay, maybe.
Maybe we have to make a final decision on that.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff there. There's actually an air compressor behind the shop.
I got to
so,
remember to bring a hand truck so we can get that out of there.
Yeah, so we discussed some of that because like we could probably set the blast cabinet up somewhere at the mill, but we're not quite sure. But what I'm getting at is we're going to be selling a lot of those tools. As we ramp up the business, you're probably going to see a little more of us buying stuff and selling stuff that maybe is adjacent to early Ford stuff. So when we were at that estate, I'm actually going back to what I used to do a lot of when I did everything. I bought a ton of vintage clothing that was in the house that they had already like gotten rid of a bunch of it, donated it, and this stuff they were either going to throw away or donate anyways. So I bought like 2 55-gallon trash bags.
They were so full. They're so heavy.
So heavy. And that's one of the things for the mill that we've been talking about. Like I'd like to open an IronTrap store that is kind of like an antique store mixed with the early Ford store in Pomona. But like, so the idea would be like, Kate likes doing the vintage clothing thing. She's kind of taken some interest in. So that might be something that she can handle, listing some of that stuff. But we're already at these estates. So you may see some stuff on our website. We may make a vintage tab. And also when we have the store, there may be some of that peppered in. Now, we're not going to become a clothing store. But like, if there's already old Ford parts and old stuff, and then there's a rack with like old jeans or old jean jackets or workwear and like the kind of stuff that I wear.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be relevant interest. I'm literally wearing.
I was just about to ask that.
The gentleman was the same size as me for pants, skinny me, and he had a bunch of like they weren't vintage really, but the red caps and Dickies and stuff that were in the garage in a dresser, and they were brand new with the tags. So I've been wearing them. They're like perfect. So I know some people might think that's weird, but that's literally. All the car parts, all the vintage stuff, everything that you like that's vintage is dead people's stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're weird about the clothes, you should be weird about the part you're putting on the car because we all get it. So I try not to be, it is what it is. But anyways, long story short, we're going to be selling some tools and some other stuff. And that's what's going on. So we may have to start having auctions or something because we're going to have so much crap. I don't even know how we sell it.
We have so much crap.
Yeah. So
we need like 10 employees to get rid of all of it.
Yeah. And one thing to mention, we've had one of our viewers that's local, that's in our age group or maybe your age group.
He's a year or two younger than me. He's
okay.
a young employee.
We're going to call him a young guy, but he's a little younger than Mike. Luke he's always comes to see us at McCungy. He works locally, and when Mike would see him out and about, he'd stop and talk to us. He'd drop boxes off. Really, really nice guy. And he kind of showed interest earlier this summer, like, hey, I'd be interested in working for you guys. And we do get that quite often, but a lot of times it's maybe somebody that's elderly and not good fit. If you're Steve's age or older, unless you're really fit, it's like sometimes we're like a little iffy on that because. So he's kind of what we were looking for. So he started helping out part-time a little bit, and he's still doing the part-time thing, but he's doing very well, and we're hoping to transition him into helping Mike with the parts business so we get emails listed, emails, phone calls, all that stuff answered more quickly, more parts listed. If you ask us for a part and it takes us a week to find it because we're so busy, we're hoping to like correct that. And then also he's able-bodied and also computer literate, so listing stuff online.
That's the biggest thing. We always have people that offer to help, and I'm like, do you know how to use this use the internet? And they're like, nope.
I don't want to do anything related
I have a flip
to the
phone.
I don't want to do anything with the internet whatsoever. Like, well, 90% of our business is the internet. I'm not being rude, but that's a requirement. And we're not like a tech company. It's not like we require you to do anything crazy. But if the person's already kind of negative about it, it's like, well, that's not a great fit. Because we do need laborers, but like we get a lot of people that come forward that just want to do the fun stuff. They want to like do what I do.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times I'm not doing fun stuff. But they want to like help me chop the top on the Mercury. It's like I don't really need that. That doesn't really make us money. Actually, what I do is a loss leader, as they say in business. But yeah, so Luke's been helping. So if you see him in the videos and stuff, I definitely we're gonna make him hang out in the booth probably at McCungy this year. So if you see him, introduce yourself, say hello. He's a super nice guy, and he's definitely fits fits what we're looking for.
We just got to
so.
get him an early Ford.
Yeah, well, Steve doesn't have one, so
Yeah.
we're okay.
He's young and convincible, though. He's got a bunch of old cars.
He was already asking about early, like what we were going to ask for that 39 coupe,
Yeah.
and he's like looking around, so kind of funny. But yeah, so that's kind of the majority. Oh, the 32 Roadster sold, body sold.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're interested in that, you snooze, you lose. So that's gone. We have so much stuff coming up with the states that we're doing, and space isn't an issue, but like car bodies, they're hard to stack. So it's like that one was sitting there, and I was like not in love with it. And we got a price that was, in the realm, cheaper than what we had it listed for, but it was in the realm. So I just said, let's just let it go. We actually, by accident, sold that T-body this morning. I wasn't trying to sell it. I wasn't trying to flip it, to be completely honest. But as we've trained our viewers now, the gentleman that bought it, Kurt, he was like, he's like, I saw you had it, and I figured you didn't seem that excited about it, so I figured I'd just.
And he didn't bluntly say this is not for sale.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said that to him. I'm like, when something's not for sale, I will say this is not for sale. So I didn't say that, and people are learning. So he sent an email and said, hey, would you sell it? So I gave him a price. I make a few bucks, and if he wanted it, great. And it was like he had been looking for. He said he had a fiberglass 26.7T body already, and he's been looking for steel. So he instantly was like, yep, I'll take it. Drove down this morning. He was here at the doorstep right when we got in, and he took that. So 26.7Ts are around. That one was decent. There was some stuff I didn't love about it. So like, I would have built it, but it was just one of those things that I'll probably come across another one. I really would love to have, because that one I was going to have to do some paint work too. And after doing the Mercury, it ends up being like, I'm going to end up respraying the whole goddamn thing. Like,
luckily it's small to respray though.
I know, but it's a lot of work. So it's like, if I could find it was like, I like the old paint a little bit better. The gentleman that sold it to me did not mislist it. It was very honest. I wasn't upset or disappointed. It's just like, I knew how it was going to go in my brain. Like this area that was chipped off with some paint and body filler, I'm going to have to fix that. And then that's going to spiral down to what the Mercury was.
Yep.
So
if
I could find one that didn't have that, I don't care if it has a little bit of filler in it, but like I could just like buff the paint up and have fun with it or touch a couple of spots up. So
it's weird not seeing something on the office.
I know, we've got to get used to that. I got to put something else up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what we have. We could put the race car. Oh no, it's not big, and that's too big.
Yeah, the
with
wheels,
the shelving up there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll come across something soon enough.
Yeah, we'll find something to put up there for you.
So, the only other thing to mention before we get into the topic is Wheels of Time, local show in Macungie, PA. Wheels of Time Jamboree is in Macungie. It's the end of this month. We can probably put the dates.
That's right. Today's the 1st.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So that show is the end of the month. We are going to be there. That's one of the few shows that we really do. We kind of partner with the club because it is a great long-time local multi-day street rod, hot rod show. So we help promote them by mentioning it here. And we've already had a handful of people from out of town hit us up like, hey, is it, asking questions there, thinking about coming out or bringing a car down, whatever. So we do have our tent area there. I've had a handful of people ask me about like, is there a traditional area or something? And that's what we're kind of trying to do with around our tent. So all I can tell you is if you're interested and you're not like somebody that we're parking right, around the tent in the spaces they give us, you're welcome to try and find a spot right around us. I mean, we have no problem with traditional cars, and definitely come and hang out. The tent has become like a meeting spot where everybody...
if you can't get near us, bring your lawn chairs. You're more than welcome. There's a huge tree behind our tent. Plenty of shade. We'll have our big fan.
Yeah, so you can come and hang out and like-minded people. But we are trying to get more people to park around our tent. The only difficult thing with that show is they have like the run-in where everybody runs in and kind of cones off the area. So like a lot of the old people that have been going there for a while, I shouldn't just say old. The regulars, they have their spots and they cone them off. So you may have a hard time getting like right next to us. But a lot of people do just show up like Friday morning and park. And once they claim their spot, then usually it's their spot.
Yeah.
So if you can get there, definitely try and park near us. It's a good time. We're going to have I think I'm aiming to have all black cars this year under the booth. That's just like we do a theme that's like kind of just a joke, but
Yeah.
now it is a thing. So the Mercury's going to be there, sedan delivery. Mike's car will be the oddball.
I won't be under the tent though because I'm gonna be driving it.
Yeah. He's going to drive back and forth. So the Mercury, the sedan delivery, the 32 Roadster, DeLorean Roadster.
Pete's car.
Pete's car, number one. Come check out Pete's car and see the top. It looks bitchin'.
The T.
Maybe the T. We got to see what the space is like. I've had the T there a handful of times, so it's like sometimes I try and rotate stuff, but definitely the Mercury. That is getting very close to being roadworthy. Final buffing today on those skirts. So
Has the DeLorean car been there since the interior? Did we take that last year? Was the interior done last summer when you took it?
I don't know. The seat was done, but I don't know if the door cards and
Yeah, I don't
carpet
remember.
was done because I think he did that like after maybe. I have a hard time remembering, but anyways, DeLorean Roadster's just that's the one I'll bring. Come here, Moon. Come here, buddy. Come on, you can get under. Come on, come on under.
He got out that way.
This is my life. He can only over here. He can only open doors when he wants to open doors. So that's a good segue into what we're actually talking about today. I'm only looking this up because someone actually suggested this, and it's a good one we've had to see. So Lars from Alland Islands asked us to do a discussion on types of paint jobs for old hot rods and customs and level of finish, which is Mike made a good point, relevant to our interests because I'm doing the Mercury right now, and I think it's a good discussion to have because things have been evolving with hot rods and customs and street rods. I think what is accepted or what is cool has changed drastically. But I also think that there's still this weird stigma with how people feel about that, and we get the most absurd comments and stuff, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk about it. It's really funny. We get so many comments in person, in videos, emails, all kinds of stuff. And sometimes they're like
I literally just got one the other day.
really,
I drove my car to the gas station and an 80-year-old lady came over. First question she asked me, she's like, "Oh, I like your car. When are you going to paint it?" Like 5 seconds into a conversation, I was like, "I don't know."
just a young kid starting out, just
Yeah.
trying to get this thing going. But yeah, so that's a good discussion. Also, like historically, we figured we'd talk about some of the stuff and things we've noticed. I mean, we're lucky to have gotten to see a lot of survivor cars. We've seen some cars. We've seen and found some cars unrestored, like yes, they're weathered, but like we've found and pulled out of garages and put back on the road. Some, the Schroll car is a great example. Some cars up close and personal, so we can kind of speak on what these cars were actually like the average one. So that's probably a good way to discuss it. So I would say, I think the first thing to talk about is I think some people with traditional, and use the traditional word, it seems like that's become, it can't have nice paint. So I'm actually going to go the opposite way of what you think. So there's been some people that like, sometimes you hear people talk like, oh yeah, I'm building it, like our customers, we'll have a customer come like, yeah, I'm picking up parts. I'm building a traditional hot rod. It's going to be, flat black or no paint or whatever. And like, that's what traditional is to them. And it's like, there's all aspects of it, but I don't think that means painted. I
No.
mean, you look at
Traditional is the style of build, not the color and choice of paint. It's the car as a whole, not just the color, the paint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and people will be like, oh, they're almost using the traditional term in place of rat rod from years ago. So they're
100%.
saying, I'm building a traditional car, like a Trog racer. I'm going to put a T5 with a 9-inch, and I'm going to put a flathead with AC in it. But it's going to have weathered paint, or I got a car with old paint and I'm going to sand half the paint off. You're like, well, that isn't really like it's nostalgic, but
it's always so sad when customers like, oh yeah, I have this car, they show it to you, it's got like really nice paint, they're like, yeah, I'm going to give it like a weathered look, and it's like,
Oh God.
Please don't. It has nice paint. I understand the look you're going
You're right.
for.
We have had guys that had like nice paint. And they were gonna like sand the paint off to like. I'm like, I only have cars with shitty paint because they were found that way, and I'm either fixing it up as I go, which we're gonna discuss in some of this, or it's just it has a good age to it,
Yeah.
you know. But like, I don't. You're not gonna see like we didn't take the ruined Roadster and like DA the car down. Like it had
rub through to the primer in spots.
Yeah, it didn't fake it. Like it's just so.
Do whatever you want with your car, but it hurts to hear
Yeah,
that.
it does hurt to hear it. Just like it probably hurt the original guys to see us pull the fenders off. So
yeah.
we can't, much like the people that got upset with us, we don't like shout at the person or tell them what to do. We just like, man, that I don't know if I'd do that, but
Yeah.
okay, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But like, I think it's Mike made a good point. It's the sum of the pieces you're putting together in the vibe of the car that.
He just went in there, laid down, and now he's getting back up,
Oh.
wandering around.
Make sure he's not getting on that
No.
thing with the glass. The sofa has the glass on it.
This rug must be. He loves laying right there.
I don't know why. So I think it's the sum of the parts that makes it what it is.
Yeah.
And I actually don't stress over the term anymore. I think too many people.
It's so overused.
I think just in general, people try and like. It's like sometimes some bands don't try and pigeonhole what type of music it is. It's just the band and it's good. So like the car's good, you know.
Yep.
Like so like I've been getting older, I've been straying a little bit from being as picky. So the 38 convertible, with that front grille and how packed everything is on that car, we didn't really have space for a mechanical fan, and that car does not. Those cars with that nose traditionally, I think, run hot just because there's not a lot of airflow. So like I put an electric fan and I was having problems with the original radiator. I put a aluminum radiator and painted it black because it's a custom. The hood stays closed 99% of the time. Me, a handful of years ago when I was getting real heavy into this, I was so like, that's not, it has to, pussy, you know, like.
Mechanical fan only.
Yeah, now I'm kind of like, well, you know, like I'll hide the stuff and you don't open the hood and it is what it is. And like that big Cadillac engine, you can't even see any of that. So like for me, I'm okay with it because I've gotten over that fact of trying to like that badge of honor. It's like I've already made those mistakes on some cars and then end up going backwards. So It's like this one, we put it on. We put the aluminum radiator in. The thing runs awesome. It runs nice and cool. I've driven it. Literally the other day, I drove it to Pete's place to have dinner with him and his wife. And it was like 96 degrees when I left and humid. And the car ran nice and cool. I sat in traffic.
Yep.
It was great. So it's like it's okay to have. We talked about in other videos of having podcasts having multiple cars. That's the beauty of having multiple cars. I wouldn't have driven my car like the Schroll car, even though it runs pretty cool. Like that's not a fun car to drive when it's 95 degrees outside. So I drove that one, and it was a lot more enjoyable. Still hot, but more enjoyable. So I like the level of finish of paint. So what do you like?
I mean, paint wise, it's basically anything. I mean, like you said, the finish of the car has to match the, I don't know if vibe's the good word, but what you're going for. Like on the Pagoda City Coupe, the paint it's all one color, but it's like flat primer almost at this point.
It's just the paint's so dead on it. Yeah.
But that's the look. You know, that car, every time someone sees it, they assume it was built like that in the 50s, pulled out of a barn, and you just did mechanical. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been with you and someone's like, where'd you find that thing? Is that your grandfather's? You know, that's the look that you were going for.
Yep.
If you take that car and make it insanely shiny and nice, everyone's just going to pretty much assume you built it in the last 5 to 10 years. And It's got nice shiny paint and it's a modern build where like you were going for a nostalgic, like it was built in the 50s, and that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. So, and I think there's another misconception. Is people seem to only remember the nice cars. Like we get and a lot of this stuff. I'm not picking on the old timers or the boomers, but like they sometimes will be like, I don't remember a car with primer when I was a kid back in the 50s. They're like fucking bullshit. I've bought the Schroll car was in primer, and the photo of it from 1960
It was
It was in
primer.
the same fucking primer. Sorry for all the F-bombs. But we get this stuff all the time, and you're like, no, that I think a lot of the regular, you look at all the like dry lakes photos, drag photos, a lot of the like normal people photos, not Hot Rod Magazine of an indoor car show. You look at the background of a lot of those photos, a lot of those cars are
Oh, yeah.
are primered, or you could see, if you could see that a car is weathered in a grainy black and white photo, you know it was probably pretty rough in person. So I
That's
don't
my
thi-
favorite thing on looking at those old magazines. Like the cars in the background, you see it's got like a big circle where the paint like doesn't match. You're like, man, you know that car was like not great. It's in the background and you could see all like the shit on it.
You
You're
can
like,
see how bad
"Oh."
it was. Yeah, if you could see how like crinkled up the hood is, you know that in person that car was really bad.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like, it's not that we're trying to make it bad. It's just like it seems like people, especially older people, we've found they've that were actually there, like all of us, your memory gets, foggy or skewed, and you remember maybe a certain car or a few, or you lived in a small town and didn't really get out and about.
My favorite one was the white walls thing. They were like, they never put white walls on hot rods back then. Like they did it on everything back then.
Yeah, white walls were kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It definitely was, they put it on stuff that I wouldn't even put it on. There was
Oh,
just
yeah.
regular hot rods that we wouldn't put white walls on. And it's like, that's the beauty of all of this. You could pretty much do anything you want that's nostalgic and mix and match. And you probably can find a car that matches
Oh,
that.
100%.
But as far as the paint quality goes, it's like, I think 90% of the cars were probably like original paint cars that guys just like, fixed up, or they, did their custom work and then they leaded it and then spot primed it,
Yep.
and definitely some older people that I've met and talked to, and we've seen photos, and if you watch in magazines, the progression of cars sometimes, like they were always evolving and changing. And I've really, in the last handful of years, and this year specifically, I've been more like trying to put my head in that mindset, because it's like, it's okay that it's a work in progress. So the Mercury, this is where this all kind of came from. The Mercury I was struggling with because I did so much work to the car this winter that I was basically going to have to repaint the whole car.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the car was like the right rear fender, I think the work that's underneath of some of that paint. And if I started stripping it down, I was going to be like years into restoring every panel. Where it looked decent now, the mud work was straight enough when the car was. We were talking about like when we got that car and then I polished it up. It looked nice, like it looked shiny. It looked good in photos. It was, you could see the waves and scratches and chips, but like it wasn't bad. So I'm like, why am I going down this path? So I kind of made the decision. I'm like, well, why don't I just kind of do like a guy would have done and fix some of the damage, scuff the whole thing, and then spray the whole thing in black lacquer and then rub it out, buff and polish it out. And then it's going to show some imperfections, but it's still going to be one color, shiny.
Yep.
And when you're up on that car, I was OCD, and I was having moments the whole
Go
time
figure.
I was wet sanding and buffing it, because I was trying to turn my brain off from making it like perfect, because you just can't unless I strip the car down to bare metal and go from zero. And I'm not doing that. I'm being a little lazy
Right now.
I'm being a little lazy. / I just want to get it on the road and drive it because I know I'm going to customize it more. And that's where this level of paint job thing comes in. It's like, if you're keeping the car for a long time, you know that the car is going to evolve. Me personally, I'd rather have a car one color than primer spots all over. For my own car, I don't like that. I'd rather have one color and it looks like crap
Yeah.
than that. So once I buffed everything out, the trunk lid, the roof, a couple of the spots where the original paint was, you could see the ghosting through of where the paint's got some age to it. But when it's all done, now that it's buffed out, I don't know. I don't think anybody's seen it yet. But
No, that video will be out next Sunday.
yeah. So now when you stand back and I take photos, I sent a bunch of our friends photos last night when I untaped the car. Like in photos, it looks
Amazing.
It looks awesome. It looks really, really good. I mean, you could definitely, for Instagram, it'll look phenomenal. People will think I'm some kind of like magical
yeah.
painter or something. But up in person, it's got sanding scratches. It's got chips. It's got, where you can see the paint's weathered and it's thin, but it presents well. So that's perfect for me because it fits the vibe of the car. All those modifications I did, it's like the car's, it's a little shinier than it was, but it's kind of like it was just now the roof and it's nosed and decked and all that stuff. So, like, I don't think there's a problem with doing like a intermediate.
No.
And I think what I did is probably realistic to 80 to 90% of how the nice cars were back in the day. I think what's really hard is with social media, the level of quality of the average guy has gone up to, most of us are doing work that's Barris and Winfield level work from the 50s and 60s. Where what we consider okay is anything I did on that car is probably at the level of or better than metalwork wise than probably a lot of those guys back in the day did. And I'm not trying to make myself sound like I'm that great. I just think that the level of quality, it was more like get the car done, get it out of your shop, make some money, and keep moving. So that's why you hear these stories of some of the old timers that were building customs and stuff. There's like 50 pounds of lead in the car because they pounded it in, they got it roughed in, the shape's kind of there, and they piled it with lead because it was the quickest thing, smoothed it out, ground it, painted it, sent it on its way. And you see a lot of old customs that in magazines and some of the threads on the ham and stuff, you see these in progress photos. And the guy was driving the car, and you could see it's like the hood's red oxide primer because they had a shop nose the car, put it in primer, and they're just cruising it. So like to me, I'm like, if you're trying to get into the essence of hot rodding and customization, like that's a part that I'm not trying to cosplay here. I'm just trying to like get over the fact that we've been trained with the street rod world that you can only take a car out if it's totally done. And now I've gotten myself in this point of I can only take the car out if it's totally done or it's as found and it's just like mechanically going through. I'm like, well, there's an in-between point where it can look kind of nice and drive it. So that's what the Mercury is. It's like we got it mechanically going, drove it with the paint how it was. That was the first round of stuff. And this is much like you see in the old photos. Like you see these old customs and they're like oldest photo of the car, not chopped, different wheels, skirts, maybe lowered a little bit, and that's it. Then you see another photo and it's like all the trims taken off, still not chopped, little more work done. Maybe they painted it a different color. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, okay, it's chopped, the interior's done, they got a bunch of chrome done, and that is the version that we all obsess over, and that's when that car was,
perfect.
Was perfect, and that's the one that we're all trying to emulate. But there was all those stages before that. You think of the Cookie T, it was a great one. It was like that identity of that car changed so much. Like everybody thinks of it as the Cookie T.
A lot of those famous cars, identities changed multiple times.
Yeah, and the fit and finish, the color, what the car was. So when that was the Lightning Bug and it was black, totally different car. I'm sure the fit and finish and quality of that car wasn't nearly as good as it was when it became the Cookie T. And even then, it was not. It wasn't to the level of what we expect now. And I think also we've talked about this a bunch, but like because of people like Three Dog Garage and stuff at the Peterson and some high end collectors,
the Galpin collection,
they are restoring. They're buying some high profile cars, which is awesome. I think it's amazing for the hobby because they're buying and preserving cars that are so important to the history of the hobby. And they're in this collection. Some people complain about that car should be driving. I don't know if I'd take the Cookie T out every day and drive. I mean, that car is worth some money and it is so important. I think it's good to occasionally take them out, but like they're restoring them to a level that is so much higher than what that car ever was. When you are fucking triple, quadruple chroming the goddamn exhaust to the point where it's like Duesenberg chrome. That motherfucker did not. He took it to his buddy that worked at the chrome shop down the street and did it in midnight. Yeah. And it's got like single, that single chrome on it that looks great.
That's bluish
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Like these cars didn't have that. I think it's great because it's impressive. But when you saw those cars for real,
Gives you a false reality of how they look.
Yeah, so then we feel like, oh man, I gotta have triple chrome. My stuff has to be that perfect and all. It's like, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just that for us average guys, you get yourself in this thing where it's like, my car has to be perfect bare metal finish car because that's what the high end builders are doing at Grand National. Show your car in bare metal. Then it's like, you can't put filler in your car because it's a badge of honor that it's in bare metal and my stuff's blah 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 blah. And then it's like, you can't use filler. It's like, these freaking guys back in the day were pounding filler and lead on. And I'm not saying that you be like
over the top
ridiculous about it, but if you're building a car for yourself, I think it's a little different nowadays. If you're building a high end car for a customer and you're caving and paving, and you're charging crazy money, probably not great.
Not a good look.
But if you're just the average Joe in your garage and you're just trying to get it on the road, well, what's the difference? And I've gotten to that point now where I'm trying to I found my happy spot. I can do some decent metal work, but I don't have the attention span to take it to the level of the guys that I look up to. So I'm okay with it. And my stuff has some filler. There's probably some bodywork lines that are a little wavy, but you know what? It looks good. It looks cool on my cell phone when I take a photo and look at it at night, and I'm like, oh man, that thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So I think the level of finish for me, what the Mercury is kind of like my happy spot.
Definitely.
The T is the same way. Like my buddy Mike helped me with that. Other Mike, Mike number 2.
Yeah, Mike number 2.
Mike helped me with that. He did a great job, but that car certainly, his paint skills were higher than mine. So the paint finish on that car is much better than what the Mercury is. Or let's say a step above. But it's not perfect by any means. And it's pretty much, that's the level of niceness that I'm comfortable at. That car's nice, but it's not, the big thing is I don't have $40,000 in a paint job.
I also want to talk about that. The way that we've been doing things, with the Mercury, we got it mechanically going, you chopped it, and we're not making it super, super nice yet. We're also working all the bugs and the kinks out of it. On the free T, you had all kinds of problems.
Still have problems.
Super nice painted car has 0 road miles, and now you're trying to drive it and work all the bugs out of it. And you have to modify stuff around a perfectly painted interior car.
I totally learned my lesson on that car. That car was too far apart and too custom that I should have driven the car in bare metal or primer, because there's a lot of stuff I don't like or isn't ergonomic or just engineering wise I don't love. And now to pull the body off that car is a nightmare. And it's well, I don't want to do that, but I hate this, or I hate, the clutch pedal's stiff because I made the pedal so short and the linkage isn't quite right. Well, to change it all, I'd have to modify it. I don't really love how the floor is on it, and but I can't change it without repainting the car almost.
I feel like a lot of people that build nice street rods have, maybe not nice street rods because there's less modifying, it's more bolt-on parts.
Yeah, I think when they're doing a more safe type of custom build, I think that doesn't happen as much. I also think that when you're having a shop build you a car, they actually do some of this stuff I'm saying. They get the car together in bare metal. They make sure everything works how it should.
Do some road testing.
The way that we build cars is more, in essence, like a guy was doing it back in the day. So I'm trying to use original parts, modify them in my own way with maybe something I saw and use as a jump-off point. And that doesn't always mean that idea functions correctly. I feel like some of the high-end shops, because you're doing customer work, and maybe not the the Riddler or the America's Most Beautiful Car, because that's a different story. But shops are building stuff that they want to build the car, keep the customer moving. They're fitting a budget, so they're going to use the tried and true method. So you're going to use the a certain type of hanging pedals that they use in
off the shelf parts, as we call it.
And yes, they might require modification, but you're getting a Roadster Stop chassis that already has a lot of it figured out, and you're more just doing the small customization. Where I'm let me take a 46 Ford frame, rails and shorten them by like 3 feet and section them here, and then I'm going to fit F1 pedals, and then I'm going to
Different
do
X member
yeah,
and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then it's like none of that stuff is even remotely supposed to be together. And then I'm going to put it in this little T that I'm also going to channel the shit out of. And it's like
all of the above doesn't work.
It doesn't work together without some trial and error. So like that's what's great about doing them. And that car is what changed my idea with that. Like I was like, I'm going to build a nice car. Well, I was so focused on building a nice car, then I pushed to the finish line, and I should have driven it in primer or bare metal, and I would have worked. Actually, I would have been driving the car way more because it would have been nice. I would have just one winter pulled it apart and cut back into it and fixed it. So that's what you're seeing with a lot of these cars. So the Mercury we drove. The 38 convertible is a really great example. Some people love the look of the 38 convertible. I hate it. I think it's terrible. Because it's not one color, it's got these brushed on red oxide primer spots.
There's chunks of paint missing.
Yeah, there's paint and lead missing and just all that kind of stuff. I don't love that. Like if it was all one color and it was like I could polish the old blue paint up, I'd probably be more into it. I like it. It's killing me. I want to like strip the car down and start fixing the spots like the Mercury and get them in primer. So I think I've decided with that car, like same kind of idea. I might like this winter if I get to working on it. I hope I do.
I thought you were doing the Lincoln this winter.
No, that's not. No, I'm gonna work on the Arden car next. That I've decided, and maybe the 38. Just like do some upgrades to it.
Yeah.
I need to. Well, we just got that Columbia rear out of that parts car, or project car we're selling. So that's all redone. So I'm gonna slide that under that. I need to notch the frame already. So it's like while we have the rear out, we're gonna C-notch the frame. That'll take care of it banging over bumps.
Yep.
And then it's like while we're there, we're going to do this and that. And there's some things that I don't like here and there. And then I could start, like I'm either going to start at the front or the back and just start tuning stuff up. And the nice thing is like it's already ugly. So if the front sheet metal is in gray primer and I drive it around in gray primer, whatever, it's not going to get much worse, you know. And then
you got to make red primer so it doesn't look any different than it does now.
That's true. I could spray red oxide primer. That's actually a great idea.
It'll look better. Just the same red primer.
That'll actually look correct because that's what the guys would do. They do red oxide primer and etch
we
primer.
joked about that with the Merc.
Oh yeah,
because there was a couple spots Matt rubbed through a little bit. He said I should have just painted red primer and it would have looked like an old hot rod. Or you just rubbed the lacquer through enough.
Yeah, that would have been better. That I was touching up spots I rubbed through because you'd see the gray primer. Like you could tell that's like urethane primer under. So, but I think that's like a key. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a driveway paint job or a shop like. The amount of comments I can't wait till we get the comments when I'm spraying the car in the garage. Like, I literally sprayed it exactly like a guy would have done.
Did you wet the floor before?
I didn't fucking do anything. I lie. I swept the floor the night before around the car. I didn't sweep the whole shop or blow it out. I just like swept around the car because there was just like trash and things to trip over. And I'm like, it's good enough.
Yep.
If I put enough coats of lacquer on, I could sand through it.
Well, I mean, when we eventually spray paint my car, it's going to be just done out in the driveway, just spray paint probably. It's not going to get done that nice.
That's the thing. It's one color. Yeah. You know? I think we can do the same thing with your car. Like, we could probably rough in some body work because I've gotten a lot quicker at it. I can help you. I think we could rough in a lot of the body work and make it straight-ish. A bunch of high coats of high build primer, not a bunch of coats, 2 or 3 coats of high build primer. Block it out like I did the Mercury, get it straight-ish, and then you spray it. And the car's going to look decent.
Yeah.
Especially if you... my problem was the Mercury's black, and I kept it black. If I did like any color other than fucking black...
Flat white is my plan. Or cream.
Cream would be good. That would look nice. Yeah.
It's already... There's bits and pieces of cream on it already.
You could go any color, because your car has been all different colors and versions and whatever, But yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I'm starting to change my thought process. Like, it can be a driveway paint job that looks decent and presents a little better. I think Mike's car is a good example of. I don't think your car has a good patina to it.
No.
It's just like because it's the same idea. We had to cut into it so much to fix it. I mean, we had a freaking hatchet wound in the quarter panel. Like
the driver's door has a big dick in it, basically, where the lead was melted out. If you look at it at the right angle, it
door
looks
dick.
like there's a door dick on it. My hat,
I think we're.
there was a gash on one side and a door dick on the other.
We should have a little like sign paint on the edge of the door, real small. Dick door, door dick.
Door dick with an arrow.
Yeah, door dick. This is the door dick. Yeah, so I think doing that is pretty cool. But that, like, the nice thing with doing some cars like that is when you go down that slippery slope of everything being so nice, then everything attached to the car looks like crap. So now one of the things is with the Mercury, the bumper chrome is not great on that car. So now the bumpers stand out more because the paint's so darn shiny. You see the bumpers and it's like, oh, man. But I could easily get them chrome. Like one winter, I could take the bumpers off the car. They're straight. They're just the chrome's failing on them. So I could send the bumper iron or the bumpers themselves away, get them chromed, put them on the car, and I won't do some crazy quadruple chrome $1 million job. Just get them chromed, put them back on the car.
Or you find a pair of Hershey and Carlisle that's
True.
okay. You send them out. That way the bumpers stay on the car and just whenever they
The
get
problem
plated.
is I customized the rear one, so it's like
Oh, that's right. I forgot
that
about
makes
that.
it a little more difficult. But
Yeah.
like if we do it over the winter, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, you just pull them off. The car sits there. It's not getting
Yep.
driven. Again, nice thing with having multiple cars, even if it sits and I have another car to drive. That's why though, like the Mercury, I was patient with because I had the 38 and some other stuff to drive. So I haven't been as bummed not driving it as early this year. So it's that's the good thing about it. But yeah, I think the level of finish can go all the way up to like crazy nice. There's obviously a place in the hobby for these super high end shops that are building these cars. It's just it's another world that is nostalgic, but I wouldn't say it's fully traditional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these cars, like for instance the car that Rad Rods by Troy built that for Three Dog that won America's won freaking everything. It's winning everywhere. The car is insane. The gentleman who, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. The gentleman that did most of the metal work or built most of the car, a lot of the car. He was posting some teasers, and after the car's been done, he's been posting like process photos.
Yeah.
And it's just like mind blowing the quality of work that's done. But like that car, they like 3D printed the exhaust manifolds out of Inconel or something. Like, come on now. Like this is. In what fucking universe is this traditional? That's not like
It's cool as shit though.
It's insane. The car is mind blowing. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying that's the type of stuff that gives us regular guys. You look at that on social media and the fit and finish and everything, and it just makes you feel like you're a fucking piece of shit because you're like, my car is nowhere near this, and these guys are building. It's just like it's crazy because it's pushing the hobby, but that is a different part of the sector of the hobby that is nice to go see. I love going to Grand National and seeing those cars. It inspires me to try and do better work and gives you ideas what the high end guys are doing. It's pretty cool, but that's just so insanely.
I think
over the top.
it pushes. Unfortunately, pushes some lower level guys that their everyday hot rod needs to have paint that nice. Like it's got to look perfect like that car.
Yeah, some people get on that kick. I definitely think there is a sector of the hobby, but I don't like. Some people just won't put their car on the road because they're so worried about it being perfect.
Yeah.
Or not being. All the right parts or the right stuff or the right color or whatever the freaking thing is. And they could have just been driving it. So,
Well, that I think that's... What's he moving down there?
I really hope he's not moving my paint stand with my skirts on it.
I think that's how someone enjoys the hobby, though, to go to another podcast, I've been starting to enjoy driving more, where you've always been more of a person that likes driving their cars versus taking it to shows.
Yep.
Maybe the guy that's seeking perfection wants to be the person at the show that wins the award for paint.
Yeah, I think there's definitely people that are driven by accolades or awards or that type of thing, or they just want to have the best.
Perfection.
They want the best car, and like there's a lot of people that they want to have just one car, and it's the nicest one you'll ever. What insert car here? C1 Vet. I want the nicest C1 Vet that I could ever afford to build, and they have that car, and that's it. Centerpiece of the garage, done, boom, and they take it to shows and put ropes around it, and that's totally cool. I mean, if that's your thing, I don't. The stress of having something like that.
No thanks.
I don't think I want it. On one side of me, sometimes I'm like, would be kind of cool because I just have this big garage with one car in it, and I would just polish it on Sundays and
sit around and look at it.
Sit around
That's
and look
really
at
nice.
it. That would be pretty cool. But
First time you drive it to the bank and someone puts a door ding in it, you have a meltdown.
you don't really drive those cars to the
No.
bank. I think you just they do a lot more sitting and I mean, not that we're driving our stuff cross country, but just using it as a normal car, I get more enjoyment out of
Yeah.
than anything. But I think looking at the old photos and seeing some cars up in survivor cars up in close and personal, I definitely think there was like stages of the work. So like when we got, the Schroll car or even the 38 convertible is a good example. Like they were built by young men or kids who had little to no money and very little skills.
Oh yeah.
So the work that's done to them is pretty crude by today's standards. And that doesn't mean that they didn't go 100+ miles an hour drag racing the car.
Yeah.
It's just that they didn't know any better and it worked.
I mean, look at some of the paint. The 38's a good example. There's no primer underneath the paint. They just like sprayed the blue right on bare metal on a lot of it.
There might be some primer because like that spot where they leaded Moon. I wish you could see Moon. He's laying by the camera, just sprawled out, and he's lightly woofing
At the wall.
at the wall, because he must hear something that sounds dangerous, but
Yeah.
it's not dangerous enough that he has to get up. He's just gonna woof a little bit, so you know.
But how many Survivor cars have we seen where it's just like they just scuffed the bare metal and just sprayed on top?
Oh, yeah.
And the paint's just like peeling off in sheets.
Right, and because that person wasn't worried about it. They wanted to get it painted, to drive it this season,
Yeah.
have fun in it. They didn't think of some fucking nerd like ourselves 50 years later finding that car and be like, oh man, like you see so many, and I've tried not to do it anymore, but we used to do it too. Like you see channels that are finding old cars or finding stuff, especially on YouTube, and it's like a thing now to like pick apart the old work that's done or the like how bad XYZ or how sketchy it is. Whoa, like to make some drama. It's just like that the car did its intended purpose. They sprayed the car, they drove it for a while, it lasted this long. So what that they didn't epoxy prime the car and put 6 coats of high build primer like the professional bodywork guys on Instagram are telling you to do. Like they sprayed it, it was fine, and the car lived all these years.
Yeah.
So I think there is a time and place for all that. But I think not putting your car on the road because of those things is not really valid. Now you're limping because got dead leg.
Jumped up too fast.
Yeah.
Watch.
You're fine.
He'll go out that door and then not come back in and bark at the man door.
Hey, why don't you lay down? Wag. You could lay there and watch.
No.
I
I'm
wanna
gonna lay in here and annoy everybody.
Limp around and try and drink your coffee. I know. Good boy. And I think that you definitely hear the guys that did the show cars that were 40 coats of lacquer.
Oh yeah.
They probably were like, I'm sure there was cars that were damn near perfect that were that nice, but I think that was the 0.0001%. I think a lot of if you look close at the photos, a lot of these, even show cars that were in Hot Rod and Rod and Custom and all these magazines, you look real close, you could see like some of the bodywork isn't great. That the body, like if you start picking it apart like we do nowadays, you're like, oh, that body line doesn't even line up.
Yeah.
And the car's like almost a cover car of a magazine. You're like, it looked great and it for its time, but if we're gonna pick it apart with a fine tooth comb and
Standards were much, like we've always said, social media and the internet have made standards
Yeah.
like unobtainable almost for it to be a nice show car.
Right. And again, the car did its intended purpose. So I think that there is a mid-level of painting cars that you can do that actually looks appropriate. I mean, I think if you do a car and you don't worry as much about stuff being like perfect. I mean, it's a level of what you can
Yeah.
let slide. I struggle with that all the time because I see something that's not quite right, and you stare at the car for 1,000 hours, and then it bothers the hell out of you, and you want to fix it. And in the end of the day, I was doing it with the Mercury. I'm like, in the end of the day, once I'm driving this car, I'll never even look at whatever that little chip or wave in the paint is because I'm just going to drive it and enjoy it. It's like once you get past that, things get way easier, and you can just drive it and enjoy it and have fun with it. But I think the type of paint has been interesting to me. I've been using the lacquer. There's something that's kind of cool to me about spraying lacquer and doing it like the old school way. There's just something. I'm still using an HVLP gun, but like I think there's a shine that black lacquer has that's hard to replicate. We tried to
agree.
We tried doing it with the T, and I think it's close. It's just the right black, and it's clear coated. It's a base coat clear coat, but it doesn't have that depth with the clear coat because like when you bury sitting too much clear, it's the different look than just lacquer that's just like so black.
Yeah.
And deep, and I'm sure the more coats of lacquer you put on, the more that's like that. So there's something about that. It's like a old guitar or instrument that has that nitrocellulose lacquer on it that like is just this black. And I think I found myself more wanting to do lacquered out because it's kind of cool to be like, yeah, it's old. It's
every estate we do. We look at all the old paint.
Yeah, we've been gathering. That's another thing with us doing estates more and evolving over the years. Like much like we used to leave behind some parts that we were like, that's not worth any. Yeah, books. Parts that we weren't interested in, books, literature. We used to leave a lot of that behind and it would get thrown away. And now we're like, it has value. Let's just grab it while we're there. Well, now we're starting to be like, a lot of times the families are throwing all the shop supplies and chemicals away.
Or they're asking us some advice on how to properly dispose of the shop chemicals. It's like, well, we can take those off.
We can't take it all. Like we're not like putting our hazmat suits on, but like if there's like full cans of oil and sandpaper and scuff pads and now we're getting into like when I'm looking in the cabinets, I'm like, ooh, there's a can of the green lacquer for early Ford engines. I'm like, let me grab that because the nice thing with lacquer is it doesn't really matter how old it is. If it's like, even if it's still like, if it's like gelled, you can pour lacquer thinner in it and like reflow it.
Yeah.
We found some old Ditzler stuff that was probably from the 50s or 60s. That was at where the stand delivery was, and it was some of that was like a little hard or jelly, and I put some lacquer thinner in it and just kept mixing it and shaking it, and it came out and it sprayed so nice.
What'd you spray that on?
Stand delivery. I sprayed a bunch of spots that were like weird. When I took the paint off, it was like an odd spot, so I blended in some black lacquer and just lightly polished it out.
Right.
And it's
I forgot about that.
Perfect, you know. So like, I wish I had that for the Merc because that stuff sprayed beautifully. I'm sure it had lead in it still, so that's probably why I did wear my respirator. But I think like we've been like,
you don't need a respirator. Winfield and all those dudes sprayed all that shit for decades.
That is a valid concern, a valid argument because like all those dudes live to be quite old.
I was talking with one of the customers a couple weeks ago. We're like, Bill Hines is like the worst case scenario. He like chewed a cigar every time anyone ever saw him. Sprayed paint, did lead work, did like all the crazy shit.
MIG welder with no helmet. Like, that guy he did everything wrong.
And he lived to like 90 something.
Yeah, he was the guy that he should have, well, maybe actually was 90, maybe he was really just 26.
Yeah, just aged. The only thing it did was stunt his growth in later in life because he was a very small man.
He was small from that. You see the early photos, he was short forever. Yeah. But like a lot of those guys lived pretty far on. I mean, Winfield was in his 90s.
Yeah.
Even Barris lived relatively long. He passed away a little before then, but like all those guys live long.
I think the only one that didn't really live that long was Watson, right? Didn't he die younger?
He died. Yeah, he was maybe 70s.
Yeah, but all the other
That's
dudes,
still not like
No.
Again, considering what all these guys did.
all the lead hazards that they. I mean,
Well,
lead was in everything. Paint,
yeah,
body
well, Watson and like those guys, they were straight up like. There's so many photos of like Watson and some of these different guys painting, like tons of photos of them painting full cars, no mask.
And if they do have a mask, it's like a handkerchief tied around their nose.
Yeah, and that's just because they started feeling dizzy after like days of painting. They're like, maybe I should do something. But yeah, I think like the level of paint that you decide is really up to you. But I think if you're trying to build we should probably talk about like what you're trying to replicate as far as when the car was built, because we're all trying to copy the golden era of hot rodding and customs. If you're watching us, that's probably what you're into.
Yep.
And that's probably what you're trying to do. It's what I'm trying to do every day is to build. My best compliment is when we were talking about with the Merc. We were going to like maybe mess with people and tell them that we found that car in a barn and we polished it up and the interior was in bags and we just put it in the car. And I didn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
You know, this still like mess with people. But like, that's the biggest compliment. Like Mike said, like when somebody walked up to me with the coupe, my Model A coupe, and was like, "Oh man, where'd you find this one at? This thing's cool." And it's like, "No, I built it from a bunch of pieces." Like, really? It looks like it was, like that's what we're all trying to go for. So a lot, most of us are regular people. And if you're into the nostalgia thing, I think I've just been taking it so much further where I'm like, you know what? Spraying a car with lacquer and rubbing out lacquer, buffing lacquer is like a time-honored tradition from back in the day. So like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And actually, the flip side is lacquer is easy to kind of easy to work with.
Yeah.
I've been finding, so it's pretty nice. And I blended a bunch of spots where I rubbed through, and new lacquer with the same lacquer is actually hey. So the age of the era you're trying to build the car to, and the type of paint or the style of paint or whatever, I think that's probably also where they were kind of going with that question. I think in the 40s, I don't know if I want to go all the way back 20s and 30s, but like let's say an earlier type build, the early 40s.
Yeah.
It seems like you're seeing a lot of. I try and just look at what colors were available at the time, but you're going to see. It seems like more earth tones in the earlier times, as far as interiors and stuff go. But you're seeing, I mean, black was probably one of the most popular.
That also carries on. The earth tones and black thing carries even pre-war.
Yeah.
A vast majority of the cars were black, brown, sand colored. There's very little like bright, unless you get into like the high end cars.
Yeah.
Most base model Ford, Chevy. A lot of them were very just like plain earth tone colors and black. Lots of black.
Yeah, and like the hot rods and customs, I'm trying to think to some of the ones that we've seen that are like earlier style cars.
Well, I mean, we've talked about the Chloride Coupe in like every podcast lately, but that car was built in
46 or 42 or something like that.
Black.
Oxblood interior, a lot of chrome.
Yep.
I would say that car was probably a high-end car for
Definitely.
that time. But it seems like black was definitely one of the more popular colors in general back in that era.
Trying to think though, the car that won the first Grand National was blue, like baby blue, right?
Was it? I don't.
Isn't it the Nightcap Roadster?
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah. It's like an off. I would say baby blue. It was
But it's like a
It's like a lighter medium blue kind of.
But it was kind of an off-ish color.
But that's still like not super bright, flashy colors. It's still more of a blue that's like it's more of a soft kind of color. And I feel like that's a lot of what you were seeing, at least in those earlier cars. It seems like. I'm sure you can find an example that isn't. But
I feel like 54 to 55, you start seeing the really flashy colors start coming out.
I think it just followed the factory.
Yeah.
The 50s GM stuff started getting a lot of like factory metallic colors and all those like mist colors or whatever they call them. So a lot of that stuff. So you started to see the hot rods and customs that followed suit because they were doing these cooler colors, and more crazy interiors. So like I think that's when the paint jobs probably started to step up some too, because it's like now you're doing this metallic paint job that just the average Joe probably couldn't spray as easily, and it's like just going up and up and up, and it just gets to the point where the stuff started getting nicer, but you certainly, I mean, I think you can get a similar effect, I feel like, with like a single stage urethane if you're not trying to like go lacquer. Like the single stage urethane, you could spray that and you can kind of polish it out to your desired finish. So if you only want to do like a couple rounds of sanding and buffing, you can get it to where it's like shiny but not too shiny. When you start burying it in clear, it's just really hard to not make it like look like base coat, clear coat.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the idea of doing stuff. If you're doing it that much to be nostalgic, that's definitely the way to go.
I will say the black looks so good.
Yeah, it nails the old custom look.
Yeah.
I mean that's what to me it's like that's what maybe when these guys in the 70s and 80s and 90s were finding these survivor cars.
Oh, definitely.
Like when Ganal was going out and searching for it, and there's a lot of other people, Roscoe and different people were going. I hear all these stories, and you read about it because we weren't there, but there was these subgenre of guys going out and searching down these survivor cars from the golden age, before it was the internet and before it was cool. They were doing that. And imagine some of those cars that were found, or even cars that were found and then redone into something totally different before people valued survivor cars so much. But like, I feel like that could have been a car that in the 70s was done and maybe stored nicely. It was a guy's show car, and then they found it in the garage and pulled it out. And it's like, it's got some imperfections, but it's still shiny. It still looks bitchin'.
We should keep track of Wheels of Time on how many people ask.
No, that would be cool.
Like,
where'd you find this thing?
Yeah. Just to see how many people we could trick.
It's hard with the channel now because a lot of
everyone.
people follow, but we're going to probably get people that'll say, where'd you find this one at?
Yeah.
Or how long have you had this one? Like, I've had it for years.
Remember the Merc that we drove last year? It's the same one.
Did I drive it last year?
I think so. You drove a different car like every day last year.
I can't remember. I usually drove that car to dinner or to all over the place. I like driving that car. But I think that's like, if you're trying to go for the level of finish, I think the really nice cars from the 40s and early 50s, they definitely were shiny. That was where they were rubbing out 40 coats of hand-rubbed lacquer. You hear that statement or terminology. But I think a lot of those cars were probably just 4 coats of lacquer, and the dude just rubbed it out, and he did the best he could, and he drove it. And there was only a couple things you were trying to do back in the day. 3 things, I would say. Impress your friends, pick up chicks, and go to the, either race or go...
Raise hell, basically.
Raise hell. So it needed to look good to impress the chicks and pick up chicks, and it needed to look good enough to impress the girls.
Yep.
Which, much like significant other or female or male, whatever, they're probably, that you're chasing, they probably aren't into cars necessarily. And they're not going to pick apart your paint job and go, oh, your door gaps, or you know.
There's a little waviness in that.
A little waviness in this. They just go, man, it's shiny. That thing's awesome.
Shiny black paint.
Or on the other side, if you're just trying to go cruise and look cool, much like what I'm doing, I'm not trying to win shows. It only has to look so good. So that's kind of the mindset if you're doing that kind of stuff.
Not trying to pick up chicks?
Maybe. Maybe. Kate doesn't listen.
I know, that's why I did that.
She doesn't listen to the podcast.
Maybe.
So we don't have to worry about it. Maybe. Maybe.
I am not. I'm a happily married man.
He's happily married.
Yes.
He is bound by the law.
Yes. I don't think Karen made it this far into this podcast to hear that.
No, you're fine.
Bound by the law.
But I think if you're doing, like, surprisingly, lacquer, the restoration shop, I think I forget the name of the place that offers it. I just ordered some lacquer thinner from them.
Yeah, what was that?
it's called the Restoration Shop is the line of paint, but they still sell lacquer. You can buy it today, brand new. And I sprayed some black lacquer from them on the DeLorean Roadster on the door and a couple of spots that like the
Was it TCP Global?
Yes, that's it. TCP Global, not affiliated. Just that's the only place that freaking has it. If Eastwood would offer it, I would buy it from them. So they offer the Restoration Shop brand, or maybe it's their brand line of lacquers. They only sell. I was looking the other night because actually I was thinking about the Sweetheart Roadster. I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool to do a lacquer 50s and really build the lacquer and do like a not 40 coats, but like 10
That's
coats.
small
or
enough
something.
car. You could do 40 coats on it.
Probably could. Do something like that, and I'm like, man, that would be kind of cool. But the colors are sort of limited. So like for that car, I wanted something. They didn't have the hue that I would like of blue necessarily. They had one color that was kind of close. But like if you're thinking about doing that, you can look to them because they offer. The great thing is I ordered a bunch of their. We had some great suggestions when I was doing the Mercury, and I looked into it and they had it. They offer the slow lacquer thinners. So like I was using in the beginning just whatever lacquer thinner we got off the shelf at an estate, and they were usually like a medium lacquer thinner, which in hot and humid temperatures it just flashes as soon as it leaves the gun. So the slow was really helpful. I think the next time I spray a car, I think I'll be doing pretty good because I'm figuring out all the little things I did wrong. I'm going to drop my tip size down, thin it even a little more, use the slow lacquer thinner, all that stuff. But anyways, they offered the slow lacquer thinner. I think they have a retarder, all that stuff. So that's pretty handy. And I feel like lacquer thinner is lacquer thinner. So I was using their thinner with the old, like, let's say 70s or 80s lacquer thinner we got out of an estate that the Merc sprayed. Yes, the Merc sprayed with totally vintage, not 50s vintage, but old lacquer that we just found in the corner of a garage. And I mixed
Probably
it up.
90s, right? You think it's older than that?
It might be older than that. I don't know. I mean, it's not recent. That they don't even offer that lacquer anymore.
Yeah.
So that company,
Yeah, DuPont.
does not offer that lacquer. Like
I have to ask Pete when he painted the
39 coupe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but either way, you could order that lacquer from them and spray it. It's fairly user friendly. I mean, my stuff went on like sandpaper, and the car came out nice and shiny. And I think that was the thing back in the day. It was like the idea was you could put on a shit ton of coats, and even if you're spraying your driveway and you were a kid or a young man and you knew nothing about how to spray a car, and it came out like sandpaper, you just spent the time, just like I did, wet sanded the shit out of it till it was smooth, and then they would spray it again and wet sand it. And eventually, if you have enough material, you can get it totally smooth and looking like glass. So that's kind of the nice thing with lacquer. You can get away with that, and it's really true to the to the period.
definitely.
But I think you get the color choice as you go. I would just look at what was on the factory cars of the era of the car you're trying to build, and I think any of those colors are going to be appropriate
Yeah.
to it. So that's what I try and look at. Like the Sweetheart Roadster, I've been just like obsessing over what color, and I still don't know yet. But like that's what I've been trying to look at. What's a neat 58, 59, 60? Like what were the cool colors
That's
then?
like the best era to pick from, too. You picked
Yeah.
a great era.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool colors. I'm also a little scared because some of the colors I like are a metallic, and I don't know if my skill level is there to spray it myself in a metallic. Now, I've been on the fence of having somebody paint that car or me do it myself. After doing the Merc, I'm kind of like starting to now be like, you know what, maybe it'd be cool to do it myself. It might not be as nice as I was hoping it to be if someone else did it, but I'm like, it might be kind of cool. It's small.
Yeah.
That's been one of my personal goals for myself over the next handful of years. I wanted to start doing more body work and paint myself just to be able to do it, much like the metal work. So it's like, well, that would be another one. Maybe try and step my skills up a little bit, make that a little nicer, spray it myself. And, so a metallic, I'm like, it's all splotchy.
lot, yeah.
I don't know. But you don't figure it out unless you try it. So, but then I guess once you get into the 60s and stuff like that, that's when it starts getting more into like heavy metallic, a lot of pinstriping, or even like the lace work and the, some of that real crazy custom paintwork that is not for the faint of heart.
No.
If you're trying to do a nicer
Or like the
car,
Watson style paint with all the body lines painted out, all that stuff.
That's a whole nother, the stuff that he was doing was like incredible. And the work, again, I'm sure you could pick some of it apart, but the work was really, really involved to do those cars. And I don't know if I'm at that level.
I kind of feel like every decade the quality just stepped up and up. Because like in the 70s, and you went to the crazy T-Bucket, which some of those had like insane paint
jobs. And even like the solid colors, guys were getting much nicer paint quality. The products that were available for, body work were getting better and all that, more available. Bondo was more, everybody could get Bondo everywhere. Whereas
everyone could spread Bondo too. Whereas lead, you had to know how to apply it correctly.
Correct. They needed more supplies.
Yeah.
So that was a little easier. So I think you were getting a lot more nice cars. I think you also were getting a lot more cars with hidden poor metalwork.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Once you got into the 70s, because it was easier to hide bad work. Where I feel like in the 40s, 50s, it was harder to hide that kind of stuff because you had to be able to spread lead, or you had to be able to do the metalwork close enough that it was not as bad. So, it is a little bit of everything.
Nice paint jobs have always existed.
Yeah, they always have, for sure. And that's what I think everybody's strived for forever. But I think now we have this new offshoot of the culture that is the survivor car or patina or shitty chic. We're going to keep using that. Perfectly shitty, whatever the...
It's trademarked.
Yeah, it's trademarked. Whatever your version. I think the Mercury is, if we're going to put this in the dictionary, shitty chic, picture the Mercury. It's shiny, it looks good, but up in person the paint's a little shitty. It's not perfect, but it's shitty chic. Yeah. And that can be like we talked about Mike's car last podcast. That's a good example. That's another one of shitty chic. It's super shiny because he buffed the hell out of it, and it looks awesome.
Not me, Mike Milligan, different Mike.
Different Mike. That has a 46. Is it 41? 41 two-door sedan. That car, original paint. Shine the hell out of it. It's shiny. I've never seen a car.
It looks like glass.
It's crazy. His car, great version of that, where it's really shiny, but it's still kind of shitty. But it's like his car, like people like that car, and they're not as like, because it's shiny. All of a sudden, it's like there's no stigma to it. They're like, oh, this is cool.
Just gotta buff the shit out of mine. That's all I gotta do. We don't gotta paint
buff the hell out of it. It'll just look like a fake patina paint job. But I think
the Dick Door stays.
Dick Door stays. Dick Door lives. We need to make a bumper sticker that just says Dick Door lives. And people are like, what does that even mean? Yeah. But I think that subgenre of finish has now become a thing, and
it's so popular on pickup trucks.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
Yeah, everyone's doing the bad part is when they do the fake patina. That's kind of not my style.
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't like faking the funk, so to speak. I don't think trying to make it look like outright shitty, where you're like rubbing through on purpose to like trying to precariously rub stuff, because a lot of times it just looks faked.
Yeah, almost always.
And again, if that's what you're into, it's totally cool. We're going on a side tangent, but I think there's been a subgenre of, and we're like really into that. Obviously, is the survivor cars, and I've been trying to be shouting about this, of saving a car with good old paint. Because it's only like that once, and sometimes I think we've been pretty good at, like, there's some people, that customers and friends, that we've been like, don't just sand that car down, try and polish the paint or try and dust in some areas, and that's where me learning paint skills, I've been kind of working up to doing a car, because like the sedan delivery, the DeLorean Roadster, like those cars had some areas that were just like ugly DeLorean Roadster had a door that all the paint had fallen off of. So I resprayed that door, resprayed the lower panel, and just did a little bit of fake patina, but not like the whole car, just enough to make everything blend together, just to make the car cohesive. And I'm driving it. That's the thing. DeLorean Roadster. I'm driving the car. I'm enjoying it. And if 10 years from now I want to turn that back to black lacquer, 40 coats of hand rub black lacquer, I can do it. The car's already mechanically sound. We can just take it off the road.
Yep.
So I think it's a cool part of it now that you can kind of do that survivor thing. And it's, that was survivor car was not a thing in the 50s because it was just a shitty old car. Like you were just starting with a car that was really cheap, that was sitting behind a barn or a garage.
I feel like it was like that in the 80s. I wasn't around in the 80s, but I feel like that was a thing in the 80s too. They weren't really...
You just made you made all the older people feel old.
Yeah.
You're like, I wasn't even around in the 80s.
But I feel like
I was around the 80s.
The survivor car thing wasn't... there was guys doing it in the 80s, but I don't think it was a very big thing back then.
I don't think it was looked down upon.
Yeah.
More so than now. It's like guys are paying.
Everyone wants that.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, if sedan delivery, that sedan delivery, if it was a POS broken in half, I probably would. I mean, I would have bought it if it was right, but I wouldn't have kept it. You know? So like, I think people are now paying a premium for cars that have a good look to them, and we have this discussion with estates when we get phone calls, and they're telling us about. Dad had this XYZ car, or my husband, and we're looking to sell the stuff, and explain it to me, and you go, well, what's the paint like? And we're like, it's old, it's cracked, it needs to be restored. I'm like, well, no, is there paint on the car? Yes. What color is it? That's the second question. If it's some all wacky color, it's like that hurts it. But if there is paint on it, and they go, oh, it's like black, you're like, okay, that's cool. Let me get some photos, and so we have one we're about to do. In a couple weeks. It's like, got the phone call telling me about the car, sounds awesome, old hot rod, and then she goes, oh, well, he's, what's the paint like? Oh, well, he sanded all the paint off, 30 years ago and just put it in the barn. I'm like, oh.
I feel like a lot of people that we've talked out of doing just sanding the paint off, I feel like that's what always happens. They strip the paint down to bare metal, the project stalls, which happens to all of us, and then it just sits like that forever. And I think, a car sitting in bare metal is way worse than it just sitting there in like shitty old paint.
Crappy
At least it's
paint.
protected.
I know.
Some sort.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's the stuff. The easiest thing to do is to take a car apart.
Yeah.
So you see a big change. So people blow a car apart, strip all the paint off, and then they get stuck in the stages of, oh, now what do I do?
Yeah.
So now you're seeing a lot of this where people are now like, let's just get it on the road. And there's been, I think a lot of like Freiberger and Finnegan and, some of the like the big guys in the social media and they have channels and, and we're doing they were doing Roku and all that stuff, Hot Rod Garage. They were kind of like, get it. What was their thing? Get it on the road, not right, or something. There was some.
I'll put the slogan right here at the bottom.
Sorry guys, I forget what your slogan is. As little as you watch us, I watch you as just the same. I'm terrible at what I've seen on the internet.
Yeah, me too.
Something along that route, that wording, but that is different channels like that, and TV broadcasts pushing the like it doesn't have to be perfect thing is such a flip from TV 20 years ago or more when it was 20 years ago when you're getting like or the 90s you were getting the Boyd and all that where it was like they were building high-end really nice cars. Even 10 years ago you were getting these channels TV shows that were doing that stuff, and now it's like you're getting these high-profile shows that are pulling it out of the barn, putting an engine in it, going drag racing or driving it. So that I think has helped a lot because if the TV is telling you that it's okay to have a shitty looking car, then it's cool now.
You can tell everyone at your local cruising to shove it because Freiberger said it was cool.
Yeah, that's right. I'm wearing my Freiberger shirt and I'm going to drag and drive. That's right. I'm cool.
Sorry.
I mean, that is cool.
Yeah.
But for us, it's just like, for me, it's always been like before the internet, before all of this, I've always had like like survivor cars.
Yeah.
I've always bought. I mean, when I was doing the German car thing, I was seeking out cars with rare or unusual colors or body styles that had neat, savable paint, and then making them roadworthy and driving them and polishing the old paint. Like I've been doing that. I've always been drawn to those cars with age, and that's like I compared it when I try to explain it to people. There's a couple ways I say. The one thing is, I compare it to like an old Western star or Clint Eastwood or like any of that stuff. Like they just look badass. Like an old cowboy just looks badass. How weathered and old and just like they just look. An old biker just looks badass. Like so that's what these cars. Some of these cars are. They're like they've seen some shit. They've done some stuff.
It's
like
similar to artwork.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
there's
another one.
Artwork collectors that collect weathered, old, just vintage art that's not perfect.
You don't take the Mona Lisa and sand it and re-fucking paint it.
I mean, they do that with a lot of vintage artwork. They restore it and remove smoke stains and all that stuff.
Yeah, but they're not. They're doing like what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not.
Valid.
They didn't go, oh, man, this Picasso shit. Let me take it off and I'm going to repaint the Picasso better than it was.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
That's true.
I don't know why. I get in these. Sometimes I come at people at swap meets a little too heavy because I'm so like amped up about these topics, and I'll be like, you didn't take the Picasso, and because it had some scratches in it or the frame was shitty, you didn't like just redo it and have your fucking friend down the street that can paint make a new Picasso.
Yeah, it's not perfectly symmetrical. We gotta redo it.
Yeah, the shit ain't perfect. And you're trying to make it that. So, like, don't make these cars. They don't have to be like that. So, it's like, it's that. The old Western guy. You think of the, how they do, I think it's in Japan or China, they do, like, the old dishware.
Mm-hmm.
And they fixed, like, that's, like, sought after. They fixed it in the cracks and they put the gilding or gold in it or whatever. Like, it's the same kind of thought process of preserving it. And there's something to show for the age. Because you can't, you can copy it, but the real deal is impossible. I mean, that's the North Star for us. Like for me to find, if I could have found the Mercury just like that, I mean, that would be it. I mean, I wouldn't have had to chop a car. That would have been it. So if you could find, if I could have found the Calori Coupe before it was, before anything changed, that would have been it for me for a 36. If I could have found, any of the Matranga Merc, or some of these other cars, it's like those were it. So why change the car that much if it has a good bones or it has that age to it? So I think they're my favorite cars to look at, is a real car with real age that is preserved, and it's just like so cool to do that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with blending in some panels to maybe some stuff that didn't look as good or whatever. There's just that fine line that is the owner's discretion of when do you go to fully repainting it, or what level do you take it to from there. And I've been struggling with the Schroll car. I like the Schroll car. I love how weathered it is. In the same breath, I love that color it was painted, that like 50s Ford greenish color. And I'm like, man, that thing probably looked wild when it was like on the road. Like I'd kind of want to redo that car and paint it that color. It would be really killer. But I'm torn because it has the old racing numbers on it and letters. And it's like you kind of lose that. And then do I paint them back on? And then you're back to that kind of recreating.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I probably hyper fixate on those decisions much more than the average person. But like we always say, let the car speak to you. It'll tell you what to do. Think about it.
Time.
Don't just immediately get a car and DA it down.
Take the paint right off.
Yeah, don't do that. Let's just stare at it for a while, because sometimes it'll tell you what it wants or wants to be done.
And if the paint starts falling off by itself, you just
eventually, that's literally happening with the 38. The more I drive it, the more paint is just falling off.
It's making the decision for you.
It is.
Just repaint it.
It's like more. It's not just like paint. It's bare metal that's now showing more and more and more. And I'm like, I might need to fix this all the way. So, but I think that's kind of our fireside chat, if you will, on the paint discussion. I think again, in the end, it's your discretion, but you just try and decide what you want to do with the car, and that will probably answer a lot what you want to do with the car and the area you're trying to build it in. I feel like we're giving the same advice over and over again, but like people need it. I don't know. So that's what you have to kind of talk through yourself. But most importantly, just get it on the road. If it's something you want to keep and you can't figure out what you want to do with the finish, just get it running and driving and think about it when you're driving it and enjoying the car, and then you can.
Yeah, if you're driving the car and you're going, you know what, this thing's just perfect the way it is. I can just drive it and not give a shit. Then
And enjoy it. That happens more times than not. People are like, "Man, I was going to strip this thing down and paint it and do all this stuff. It's pretty cool like it is." And
just
then
drive it the way it is.
just enjoy it. So that's
That's today's podcast.
that's it. So thank you guys for following along. If you have a thought process on that or any 2.5 cents that you want to drop in the comments, YouTube always has a great discussion going on with our viewers and listeners, and also I believe on Spotify and some of the other outlets you can comment, just not as much
Yeah.
back and forth on there. But definitely, if you did not watch us on YouTube, we do the visual version. You can watch it there, and sometimes we drop some stuff in, and also you can join the comments section and comment back and forth if there's something that you want to put your 2 cents in or respond to somebody else. So keep it nice.
Yes.
Keep it nice down in there. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. We'll catch you next week. See ya.
See ya.